Yeah, welcome to an episode of The Round Circle with your host, the Fifth General, Zacchaeus and Cinema Escapes. What's good, y'all?
Hey, it was good. Good to be there. Good to be here. Yeah,
all right.
man.
A lot to talk about today. The LOX album, Living Off Experience. We're going to do a brief review on that. The NBA's response to the Jacob Blake shooting. The protest that followed after that, with the situation that happened and protesting with Kyle Rittenhouse and how that played out. We lost some soldiers over this week, who are now ancestors. So we're gonna also talk about the passing of Clifford Robinson, John Thompson, and Chadwick Boseman. Just a lot of crazy stuff going on with that, and we'll end with that. But before we do, we'll get into also what they tried to do in the justice system with Breonna Taylor's ex-boyfriend, trying to have him admit that the reason why the cops went up in there and shot her in her sleep is because he was in a drug ring. So they wanted him to admit that he was in a drug ring. And I'm assuming because they put pressure on him and they're like, listen, you're either going to go to jail or you're either going to say this, because they're trying to use that for the cops to walk away with no type of anything. And they still haven't been arrested anyway. So we'll get into that.
Yeah.
So let's start off with the LOX. The LOX just dropped an album. This is their fourth studio album together. We all know that they have solo careers. Jadakiss and his albums, Styles and his albums, and Sheek Louch with his albums. Fourth studio album. So anyway.
Yeah.
So Zacchaeus, I'm gonna just ask you, just briefly, what's your give it your take on the album? What's your songs on there that you like? And if you have a score, what would you give it?
Well, I'm gonna just give you a brief, actually give you the songs that I liked on the album. I mean, the album overall, was I give it about four and a half mics, maybe about 4 mics, because there are some bangers on there, because I listened to it. Not some of the tunes were okay, so I'll give it that score. But I would say that out of the whole album, I think I like about 3 to 4 songs on the album. About good 4 to 5 songs of the album. Like the first one, I like "Give It to Him." That's the first joint.
Mm-hmm.
I like that one. Yeah, I like that one. I like the one with Jeremiah. "Do It to Me" by Jeremiah. I like that one.
Do to me.
Also, yeah, "Do to Me." Yeah, "Do It to Me." Yeah, and "Miss You" with T-Pain, and "Move." That joint, "Move,"
mm-hmm.
and "Testify." I thought "Testify" was a banger too.
Okay.
"Testify," yeah, and also the story. I think "Story."
Yeah, "Story." Yeah.
"Story" was good. Yeah. Those are my joints right there. So overall the album was I thought they did pretty okay on this album. It's just it just brought it back to the days when the LOX came out. I know they had other bangers too from the early days of the LOX, but I know they was trying to come back with it, and they kept, what was good about this is that they kept the same ingredient that they kept with the lot with their style. This is their style, So they mixed it up a little bit, but they kept it authentic to their style. That's what I gotta say about the LOX album. This one around, Yeah.
Cinema. I mean, you said you didn't have much time with the album, but you have any comments on the project?
Nah, I need to really, dissect it. I didn't really have time to listen.
Yeah.
For personal reasons.
I got you. So say real quick, Album started out good. You know, LOX feel. So I like Gave It to Him.
Yeah, me too.
One of the joints I like. I like Testify. I like Story. I like the concept of Story. Not in love with the beat that much, but I like the concept of Story. Come Back is dope. Think of the LOX with Westside Gunn and Benny the Butcher is dope. My America with Oswald and Benjamin is pretty good. Not a big fan of this project like that, so my score is really just a 3.5, to be honest with you.
Okay.
But it's not a bad album. It's just not a great album. I'm not really the sound that the LOX is going with on here. It's just it lacked a Rough Riders feel, and I know that we're not getting that anymore. I get it. It's not going to be the same impact that the LOX had with their second album, We Are the Streets. I mean, that album is really dope.
Right.
Exactly. That's a timeless album. I get it. We're not going to get that from the LOX anymore. I understand. And even though the first album with Bad Boy, that was a good album, even though people underrate it because they was with Bad Boy, but even the Money, Power, and Respect album, that's a good album. That's a good album. People listen to it now. People listen to it now and realize how good it was. And the LOX, Filthy America. Now, I did like that album. So, I was kind of hoping that they would kind of have a sound that was similar to Filthy America. But it's fine. I honestly believe the LOX are, in these days, I believe the LOX are better on their solos, honestly. They just don't have the same musical taste. I think we see that. They don't have the same ear for music. I think Styles has the best ear for music out of the three. Yeah, go ahead, Cinema.
Something there. Also, you're talking about the circle of producers people have.
Mm-hmm.
Like, remember Primo and them.
Let me get your audio up a little bit more, Cinema. Because we want to make sure we hear this.
Okay, you got that. That's better.
Thank you.
Okay, so basically, Primo and them ain't putting their prices down.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people are going to different styles of production.
Right.
And you're seeing that affecting albums.
Right.
Like even the album last week.
Yeah.
Because, they're trying to pay less for a producer but you get what you pay for.
Right.
So that affects it. So as a solo artist and as a group, as a solo artist, you can say I'm gonna put that money.
Mm-hmm.
But as a group, all of you gotta agree.
Yeah.
Unless you do in-house production like we do. And so, that also affects your album choice, because then if you're taking another type of producer, you have to pick the best out of that pool. You know. And it's a lot to go with how the industry's going with not wanting to pay people, not wanting to pay writers, not wanting to pay producers. It's hurting the music, and so that's I'm not gonna speak on it because I haven't heard it enough, but that's kind of what I felt. Listening over it quickly.
Yeah, because I'm sure you were listening to this LOX album. But in your mind, you were also thinking about how they do individually and how their projects sound compared to when they do stuff together, and that's how I take it. Like, the group conversation is very relevant because there are acts that are better as a group than they are solo, and vice versa. They're better as a solo than as a group. We have examples of that. We have examples of that. Tribe Called Quest is one of them. We know that Tribe Called Quest is at its best sound and continuity when they do an album together, as opposed to Q-Tip having an album together, or Q-Tip having his solo, or Fife having his solo. You know what I'm saying? So we know that we tend to see that Tribe Called Quest, rest in peace, Fife, they were better as a group when it came to putting out music. I think that's
right. And that album, that doesn't mean the solo albums were trash.
No.
It just means when Tribe came together,
Mm-hmm.
it just they had a vibe and something together that you don't get apart.
Exactly.
And there's a lot of groups that broke up when people go solo.
Right.
Ill Out Scratch, even though they didn't know each other, and they were put together.
Yeah.
And they were put together as a group.
Yeah.
Still, both of them still make good material solo, but both of them together, Ill Out Scratch. Woo.
Wow.
They just complimented each other.
And Naughty by Nature is a great example too. We want to hear Tretch and Vinny together.
I remember Ill and Out Scratch. Welcome to my home. Oh yeah. Remember that joint?
Yeah.
Somebody had an ear and said, "Let me put these two together because these complemented." They didn't even really have like a relationship outside of doing music. They were two solo artists they put together, and it just made a colossal album.
Oh, like back at like old school, nice and smooth.
Right. But Al Scratch is still making music, and it's good. I'm not even discounting them, but it's just like it's some people. It's like being on a good basketball team.
Right.
If you're playing with LeBron, your game's gonna go up.
Right. Mm-hmm.
If you're playing with other people, I don't even want to diss nobody. If you're playing on some of these other teams that ain't going nowhere, you're just gonna be like, well, they ain't. Your level's gonna go down. Some people bring the best out of you. That's what we're saying.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So shout outs to the LOX. I mean, I love them. Yeah. But
I do too.
But I just felt the album was average. Just kind of my take on it.
Right.
But
we talked about it, so it ain't a 2.
Right. Yeah. Right. Because if it was that, we wouldn't be talking about it. But I do like the response that they're getting. They're getting a positive response for this project, just like Nas did with his album.
Yeah.
So that's good.
That.
Exactly. So let's also get into our next topic. The NBA made a powerful impact last week. So okay. Let's walk this through. Mm-hmm. The Orlando Magic were matched up with the Milwaukee Bucks. The Milwaukee Bucks were not in shoot around, and Orlando Magic players was like, where they at?
Mm-hmm.
And come to find out, somebody from the Orlando Magic team ran out, talked to the players, and the players walked back in their locker room. The news that was relayed to them and the coaching staff is that the Milwaukee Bucks decided, their response to the Jacob Blake shooting is, listen, this wearing shirts that say Black Lives Matter and vote and equality on the back is not doing enough for social justice.
Right.
The topic may be out there, but as far as the impact, it's not doing anything. Having Black Lives Matter painted on the court is not enough. So they was like, you know what? We're just gonna stop. We're gonna shut this down for today, and we'll go from there, whatever the consequences are. So they took a bold stand. I've never seen this in my lifetime in basketball. Now, in soccer, this has happened, not MLS, but soccer overseas. There have been many times where, due to guerrilla warfare in some of these countries, soccer players have overseas have always taken a stance and protested. So that's not nothing new for soccer overseas, football.
Wow.
But what we also saw was the rest of the games that they stopped, other than just the Milwaukee and Orlando. We saw hockey make a stand. That was interesting. MLB, baseball, they took a stand. Tennis player, what's her name? Hold on. I gotta get her name. That's important.
Yeah. She's like
half Haitian, half Japanese.
Japanese, right?
What's her name? I got it here. Bear with me, ladies and gentlemen. I have the article. Her name. Here we go. Naomi Osaka.
Naomi Tataka. Yeah, I've seen her in pictures before. Naomi Tataka. Yeah.
Naomi Osaka was two matches away from winning the tournament in the U.S. Open. Well, it's one of the Opens. Is it the U.S.? It's one of the Opens that they got going on.
One of them.
Cinema, you would know. You're more of a tennis.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Not. Yeah, the U.S. Open hasn't gone yet, but these are the tournaments for seating coming up to it.
Right.
But she's been winning these tournaments, and she stepped out of a semis match in protest, and that's huge.
Right.
Because once you withdraw, it's not like basketball. You're not going to recover that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, she's a big deal because she's the next big thing.
Right.
And she's won a Grand Slam.
Exactly. So she's not just some not Johnny come lately, but she's not some Janie come lately either. This is not somebody who doesn't win in protest. This is somebody who's a champion.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
She's the next class of Serena and Venus. So this is the torch has been passed on to this young lady.
So their sisters come up.
Right. So it's like everybody just was like the WNBA. They protested for a couple of days as well.
They came out.
Yeah.
They didn't play. They came out with the bullet holes in the back of their shirts, knelt for the national anthem, and bounced.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, they wasn't playing around. So, to kind of help this topic, I'm going to play a video from Doc Rivers and his comments about the shooting of Jacob Blake.
Is just watching the Republican convention, and they're spewing this fear, right? Like all you hear is Donald Trump and all of them talking about fear. We're the ones getting killed. We're the ones getting shot. We're the ones that we're denied to live in certain communities. We've been hung. We've been shot, and all you do is keep hearing about fear. It's amazing to me why we keep loving this country, and this country does not love us back. And it's really so sad. Like, I should just be a coach. And it's so often reminded of my color. It's just really sad. We got to do better. But we got to demand better. Like, it's funny. We protest and they send riot guards, right? They send people in riot outfits. They go to Michigan with guns and they're spitting on cops and nothing happens. The training has to change in the police force. The unions have to be taken down in the police force. My dad was a cop. I believe in good cops. We're not trying to defund the police and take all their money away. We're trying to get them to protect us, just like they protect everybody else. And how dare the Republicans talk about fear? We're the ones that need to be scared. We're the ones having to talk to every black child. What white father has to give his son a talk about being careful if you get pulled over?
Well, Zacchaeus, let me get your comments on this before we move further with this story.
Well, I guess he was expressing himself from his heart, man. And I mean,
yes,
the man, because the thing is that it's a lot of it's a lot of tension, and basically what it is that he's right about that. You're always reminded of who you are, your skin color, because I mean, when you listen to like comments like just shut up and dribble, or you listen to you're walking, or you're just in the streets and all of a sudden now you stop and you pull over, being profiled, And the reason, and I understand it, because the reason why the players, NBA players, and some of the other leagues protest, because I said, listen, this is something that we're tired of this. We're tired of having to bury and have pain on our mother's face when you see their sons, our brothers and sisters buried, all because they're stopped by the police, or all because there was a misunderstanding and a miscommunication, so we have to die. So yes, this is something that needs to be, there's something that he's saying, that this is something that needs to be addressed, and it cannot be ignored. We cannot in other words, you cannot continue playing. You can't continue playing and just ignore the elephant in the room. You can't continue playing and ignore what's happening outside the courts, the basketball court. And see, that right there drew the attention of the media immediately. I know Charles Barkley had a comment. Charles Barkley was going crazy, but the thing is that it's, and I when the players did that, I had to stand up and I applauded them for standing up, because I said, wow, that took a lot of guts to do that, to get up and do to protest and say, listen, when in the middle of all my life living, I never seen that, but this is a different generation now. A generation say that we gotta take action, and we gotta put a stop into this. So that's my comment on the audio. Yeah.
Cinema, before I get to you, there's one more thing I need to play, and I'm gonna give you all the time you need, okay? Next I have to play what also happened that day to kind of help this story, what Kenny the Jet Smith did on Inside the NBA following the news of the protest. Here's what he had to say.
I don't know if I'm even appropriate enough to say it, what the players are feeling and how they're feeling. And I haven't talked to any of the players. I'm just like coming in, even like driving here and getting into the studio, hearing calls and people talking. And for me, I think the biggest thing now is to kind of, as a black man, as a former player, I think it's best for me to support the players and just not be here tonight. And figure out what happens after that. I just don't feel equipped to do that.
And I respect that. Shaquille.
Okay. Cinema, what's your take on that?
Just Kenny.
Yeah. Well, no, the whole thing. But I just wanted to let you hear what Kenny said, kind of just help this,
I saw that live.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
But the whole thing is Doc's comments, Kenny's comments. It's this. How long have we been entertaining? And what's that? Ice Cube has a song on the Predator album which was around the riots, and the first song is called "When Will We Shoot." I won't quote it exactly because we don't use language like that on the show. But but one line in there is like, he's talking about how white people hate us in one way and they celebrate us in there. And he's like, and he says, here's Jordan, the end with the monster dunk. Get off me, punk. And then he has the clip on there. Jordan, yes! On this.
Oh,
Ice Cube's always talked about that stuff for people who were trying to say he didn't now. You need to really go listen to his albums, not just his singles.
Right.
He's always been, and then that's the album about the riots, of course, that's Predator. But it's like, we've entertained them. And I put up a statement on my thing, and I'm like, you're mad. I'm glad you don't have your entertainment tonight. But I don't have family members and friends. And it's still not a fair exchange. and it's like, oh, you don't live there no more. But they had to grow up there, and they're thinking about the people. If what about the guy who got the injury, who's stuck in the neighborhood because he can't have an NBA career? He has to deal with that, and he's not a criminal.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's what you forget. These people have family members and stuff there. A celebrity doesn't make you immune. Jennifer Hudson lost her family back in Chicago, while she was out, trying to make a living,
Yeah.
But it's the reality of it. It's like, yeah, but what if they don't know this is Bronny or LeBron's son?
Yes.
And they just do that. And the argument that on the other side is ludicrous, because how can you speak on something you don't know, you haven't experienced? So what you try to say is that it's a lie, you're dismissive, and it's ridiculous. We fought in wars. My dad fought in wars. My dad and my brother were both military. A lot of my family's military. A lot of them. Cousins. I got mad military. My family has fought for this country, put their lives on the line for this country. And this is the treatment you get. We grew up, I don't have a criminal record, but I can tell you how many times I've been harassed by the police. Me and Zacchaeus was just sharing stories a few episodes back about, just think how things are. And the whole thing is, it's time. We've been asking for this. We wanted, we needed this.
Yeah.
That's why we've had conversations about maybe we should start our own league and things like that. That's why we were excited about the Big Three, because the Big Three didn't shy away from these things.
Nope.
And it was, and the Big Three gave us basketball when there's nothing going on. As much as I love baseball, the season's too long.
Yeah.
It's too much. It wasn't this long when growing up. They just keep extending it. It doesn't need to be this long. So, with that said, you want us to hurt and pain, but just come out and dribble. And the whole thing is, the person who started it isn't even from this country. It started with Giannis.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Giannis was one of the main big players behind the whole protest. But we do have to keep this right, though. Giannis was approached. So he was approached by George Hill.
Right.
But as soon as that happened, Giannis said, "All right, I'm with you."
Yeah, but if George Hill would have did it, nobody would have cared.
Right, exactly. Right. That's true. Exactly.
And LeBron almost saying, "We about to go home," and the Clippers walking out with him.
Yeah. Him and Kawhi.
They was shook. They was shook.
Him and Kawhi. so
shook. And then and what did they say? Somebody said when they left, "How is there playoffs without the Lakers and the Clippers?"
So
we gotta we gotta discuss this,
And we and while we're talking about that, because you mentioned Giannis, right? So that the team was like, if Giannis ain't playing, we not playing, right? So then fast forward to that meeting that they had that night after the cancellations. Yes, Kawhi and LeBron, they agreed that, man, we'll just go home. So we're talking about superstar leverage, and a lot of players felt like, well, shoot, if LeBron ain't playing, then we not playing either. But they didn't all see eye to eye about it. But there were talks about Jordan telling them to play and all this other stuff, whatever. Then they said Obama was telling them to play because he felt like if you guys play, then we can still have the voice of your impact and platform. Okay, I mean, we could agree to or disagree on that. But they just felt like they needed to do something to let it be known that we ain't having this. You know what I'm saying? And, we're not going to just not do nothing and just shut up and play ball. Now, the next
Right.
day, I play this real quick. So the next day, the Milwaukee Bucks did make a statement, and I got their
Here we
video.
go.
Well, as you can see, we all thank you guys for taking upon your time to stay here with us. We're sorry that it took a little bit more time, but we thought
That is
it would be
George
best
Hill
for us as a
speaking,
team
point guard
to
George Hill.
brainstorm a little bit, educate
Oh, yeah.
ourselves, and not rush into having raw emotion, giving you guys things like that. So, on behalf of ourselves and our team, we're going to place a statement as a team today and go back and continue to educate ourselves and get better awareness of what's going on, and then speak to you guys later. So we'll come up with a statement now.
Our team statement, the past 4 months have shed a light on the ongoing racial injustices facing our African American community. Citizens around the country have used their voices and platforms to speak out against these wrongdoings. Over the last few days in our home state of Wisconsin, we've seen the horrendous video of Jacob Blake being shot in the back 7 times by a police officer in Kenosha, and the additional shooting of protesters. Despite the overwhelming plea for change, there has been no action. So our focus today cannot be on basketball.
When we take the court and represent Milwaukee and Wisconsin, we are expected to play at a high level, give maximum effort, and hold each other accountable. We hold ourselves to that standard, and in this moment, we are demanding the same from lawmakers and law enforcement. We are calling for justice for Jacob Blake and demand the officers be held accountable. For this to occur, it is imperative for the Wisconsin State Legislature to reconvene after months of inaction and take up meaningful measures to address issues of police accountability, brutality, and criminal justice reform. We encourage all citizens to educate themselves, take peaceful and responsible action, and remember to vote on November 3rd on behalf of the Milwaukee Bucks.
Now, this is what I want to say regarding that, because there was more that happened. Now, even though the games had resumed later on that weekend, but here was the stipulation here. So it was reported, according to ESPN, that the Milwaukee Bucks, the day that they didn't take the court, made phone calls to like they made in that statement that they made phone calls to the DAs, to the judges, to the congressman about the cop that shot Jacob Blake, and the Bucks felt like, listen, we play in Wisconsin. That shooting happened in our backyard of Kenosha.
Yeah.
So they're like,
Yeah.
so then them and also the Milwaukee Brewers baseball, they were like, well, we're not going to play either. So that's what led into the baseball, because the Milwaukee Brewers was like, we're not playing. We're not playing. So a lot is going on with that. Let's talk about the other. Let's talk about the other stipulations that the players made before taking the court again. They said that they want the stadiums to be used as polling sites, being what we're seeing in recent news with with mail-in voting and all this other stuff with this COVID, because it's basically a COVID election, because there's a lot of limitations here. So they were talking about having the stadiums and arenas. Having them as polling sites, also urging the owners along with the players together, but definitely the owners, as far as from a financial standpoint, putting money into the communities that they come from and also that they represent locally in their cities for issues that are plaguing the black community. Don't know how that's going to turn out, but I think it's interesting that the players mentioned that. So my overall take is this: this could lead to something. This could lead to nothing. So, but they took a stand. It's more than what I could say for other people. Should they have taken a stand years ago? Absolutely, but we're here now. Okay.
Yeah.
The question had been asked of the players. What happens if there's another execution by cop?
Well,
They said they'll deal with it. They said they'll cross that road when they get there.
yeah. Wow. Good answer.
So
Yeah.
Zacchaeus, I need your input on this.
Yeah, so it's like, well, you know what? This is gonna go down in history too, because I've never seen when any NBA team stood up like this and took a stand. They started like a revolution, man. They started when they took a stand. Other leagues took a stand too.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they did. They started something. They said, "Listen, we had Jacob Blake was it took another life just so they could say, okay, there's something stern enough so we can take a stand." It started with the Milwaukee Bucks, and it said, "Listen, we gotta address this. We gotta address this issue," and they realized, listen, now you looked around, you seen the the t-shirts, Black Lives Matter t-shirts. You see the prints all over the place with Black Lives Matter, but it takes more than the shirt to get the attention of the media. You see, it had to take strategy to say, listen, we're gonna just boycott the playoffs. And then it's just, but it just had to. I just had to look at it as them. It had to take another life for them to say, listen, we gotta do something. We gotta do something, and this is gonna be effective, because God forbid if it happens again, I can see it happening now.
Yeah.
Yeah, again.
Yeah.
We're gonna take a knee. And I have to give it up, man. Brother Kaepernick, he started something big, man.
Yeah, 4 years ago.
Yeah, 4 years ago. He started something big.
And just to give some info, the NBA, when they protested, it was on the same day Kaepernick kneeled 4 years ago, August 26th.
Wow.
How about that?
August 26th. What, isn't that something?
Yeah, August 26, 2016 is when Kaepernick first kneeled.
Yeah.
And spoke about his protesting. And NBA does their protests on August 26, 2020. So I mean that's interesting. How they
what a coincidence
connect with each other.
Man.
So we have to move on.
Okay. Yeah.
And talk about our next topic. Oh God. So here we go with this justice system that people love so much and try to deny that there's systemic racism. Okay. So we had a situation that was reported this week, with the local laws, and where we at? Kentucky. I don't want to forget where Breonna Taylor was killed. So Kentucky Attorney General says that the new report on Breonna Taylor is inconclusive. So this is what they wanted to do with their trifling behinds. Shout outs to her ex-boyfriend. I mean, he's only an ex because Breonna's dead. But Jamarcus Glover turned down, this is according to Yahoo News. Jamarcus Glover turned down the plea deal that would have implicated Breonna Taylor in his alleged crimes. Alleged, okay? Breonna Taylor's ex-boyfriend was offered a plea deal that if he would claim that he's part of an organized crime syndicate. That's disgusting.
Oh boy.
Taylor's ex-boyfriend, Breonna Taylor's ex-boyfriend, and the focus of the no-knock raid, which took her life, pled not guilty to drug charges Friday. Now, this article is dated August 31st, 2020, okay? Because I know people are going to listen to the show because we do our things pre-recorded. So the court records indicated that the prosecutors were willing to give him a plea deal if he were to implicate Taylor in his alleged crimes. Glover was given the officer by Jefferson's Commonwealth Attorney's Office on July 13th to avoid 10-year prison sentence and be sentenced to possible probation. In return for leniency, Hope I'm saying that right. He was required to admit he and co-defendants were involved in drug trafficking operation in Louisville, Kentucky through April 22nd. According to the court records, the crime syndicate sold drugs from an abandoned warehouse and vacant houses in Louisville. Taylor, 26, just lived 10 miles away. Glover, who was 30 years old, turned down the plea deal. An attorney representing Taylor's family in the wrongful death lawsuit blasted officials for the lengths to which those within a police department and Commonwealth's attorney went to after Breonna Taylor's killing to try to paint a picture of her, which was vastly different than the woman she truly is. The fact that they would even try to represent that she was a co-defendant in a criminal case more than a month after she died, killed, that is absolutely disgusting. Okay, I'm done with that because this is a long freaking article. Cinema, I got a question, man. It's been a while since I asked the actual question in this sense. What do you think, though, being that these cops haven't been charged, is it possible that these cops themselves, that the reason why they suggested this is because it's possible that these cops, for the first time, might actually do time for this. And so they had to try to coerce Jamarcus to have this bogus plea deal to admit that he was part of it, to cover up that they killed Breonna in her sleep. What do you think about that, Cinema?
You have the Justice Department looking into it.
Yeah.
And you have things on the federal level.
Mm-hmm.
Even despite that, a federal case is stand on its own merit. But that's they're panicking like Anakin in episode 3.
Yeah.
You done chopped down the younglings, and Obi-Wan is coming.
Yeah. Star Wars reference.
Yeah.
So to speak. So basically, you got to pay the piper.
Mm-hmm.
The whole thing is, it's a mess.
Yeah.
From beginning to top to bottom. Number one, nothing was done. You busted in there. He's retaliating to people busting through the door unannounced with guns. You shoot somebody who's asleep.
Right.
And now you're trying to stain them in death, saying they were part of a cartel when they were a decorated first responder, an awarded first responder.
Yeah.
It's disgusting.
Yeah.
It is, Oh.
And so, now it's cover your butt time, but but it's the region where this happened. And then that's what some people didn't believe in federalization. I think if, like the lynching law that a certain party blocked.
Yeah.
If these things don't get federalized where you can have something and there's some accountability, and they still don't want to do it. How many years has it been?
Right.
Yeah.
If they don't lynch anybody, there won't be any penalty. Laws are there made to protect people, and they seem not to want to protect the community. They'll come with us for entertainment.
Of course.
And then they'll let us talk about murder and killing our own. And, other races will be blasting the music like they belong, but then they don't want us there in their neighborhood.
Yeah.
Then the cops see us that way. And because there's money to be made in it. And that's what the bottom line is. It's like the police are just a symptom of the bigger systemic racism.
Yeah.
That's built into this country that nobody wants to talk about. Not even churches. And I said it.
Yeah.
I said what I said on that because it's disgusting. How can you call me brother and see me being oppressed and do nothing? You're a joke.
Yeah.
You're just a Sunday show. You really have no action. And take it how you want to take it. You know, if you see injustice, it's not right. I'm not, no one's asked you to change your political view. You see people just getting murdered. That should be wrong enough, no matter your political view. But if you're going to label people thugs and other things and dismiss people's pain because you want to justify how you didn't do it, because if you recognize this, you really have to look in the mirror, that's a shame on you.
Yeah. Yes, it is.
Thing is. To acknowledge that this is going on, you really have to look in the mirror, and you got to acknowledge I haven't been doing nothing and I haven't cared.
Right.
And they don't want to do that. That's why you had the big preacher where I went to Bible school. I won't name him because we don't need no lawsuits. Backpedal, said something one week and then backpedaled the next week because it probably hit his money. But that's what it is. It's like they'll make money off of us. They'll pimp us in record contracts, let us entertain them, and laugh all the way to the bank. And it has to stop. We have to stop it, and we have to stop doing it. And that's what I think all of the NBA protests and stuff help with, that because if you're not going to do nothing, we're not going to do nothing. That's right. That's what needs to happen.
Right.
Or if we're going to make money, we're going to make money for our back.
Yeah.
And that's the whole thing. And, well, I'll save that for later in the show.
Yeah.
We're going to hit that. But the imagery is important. I'll just end it with that. And as long as you have that imagery, you'll have these guys thinking they could get away with murdering people, with murdering black people, with railroading black people. And it's not the branch of government where the president is that we need to be paying attention to. We need to get involved with all three branches of government and how they work. And we really need to hit the judicial hard.
Yeah.
You need to get educated on that, on the three branches of government and what they do. The politicians can't control the judicial.
Right.
And there's reasons for that, and it's good reasons. So then you have to get involved with the judicial and just not go and vote for your president if you're going to vote. I'd rather vote on those mid-elections. I think those are more important because that's what happens around you in your county and where you live.
Well, your local, your mayors, your councilmen and stuff like that, for those who want to see local change in their city, and there's no middleman process like it is with the president, as far as like electoral college. It's important to local vote, as
and
well.
Your judges.
Yeah.
Research your judges. Because you have to put them in. That's the whole thing. You got to find out, research that, because that's the whole thing. Your local government, where you can walk in and approach somebody, and those things, those are important.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times in these cases, the local government policies are outweighing the federal, and that's how it's set up. So you go into a place, even though you have national media, that local government's like, you can't say nothing here. And they're kind of right. And so the people in that area, even if you're the majority, if you don't do nothing about it, if you don't find out what's going on, that's going to continue.
Right.
New York, they used to get people out of there quick as soon as the next election came.
Yeah.
There was no joke.
Exactly. And so that's why you get it area to area. Some areas you can't get away with that bull. Yeah. And in some areas you can. And so, it's like the kid who was in the racist town with the Black Lives Matter sign, and they was getting mad at him because there was no black people there. And it was angry. And he got threats. The videos are up.
Yeah.
You can look it up, and it'll show you about the fabric of a lot of these communities. And as a Black person, be aware of your surroundings and research before you travel somewhere or travel through somewhere or live somewhere. And I hate to say this, but there's some places I don't want to live because I researched them and I'm like, no way.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a lot going on with that. Real quickly before we get to our last subject, Kyle Rittenhouse, 17-year-old who killed a protester and shot 2 other protesters during a protest for Jacob Blake. After he shot them, you had witnesses because it's on camera. Him shooting people, it's on camera.
It was live streamed.
Yeah,
because somebody was live streaming the protest.
Yeah,
people saw it live around the country, and then they saw him get a water bottle from the cop and let through.
My gosh.
Well, let's see. Here's the thing. There's been some stories jumped around. Other than him walking by, they said, "How the heck did he end up away from his crowd?" Well, number one, because he came with some people. They don't even live there. And his whole thing was, well, we're gonna go and make sure there's no riots or whatever, that bull crap. They're just there to shoot Black people, but Black people knew what time it was with that one, and they wasn't even there. Okay.
Yeah.
They wasn't in the crowd with them protesters, and the reason why Kyle got chased down is because they said that he already had shot somebody. So one of the guys who tried to take the gun from his hand, he died. He got shot in the head on camera. Mm-hmm. Walks by the police. You hear the police drive up and just say, "Is anybody hit?" Excuse me?
Exactly.
That's all you got to say?
Walking freely with a armed rifle.
Now, Zacchaeus, what do you think would have happened if it would have been somebody who looked like us walking around with an AK-47?
Brother, Cinema and Fifth, we would have been riddled with bullets.
Yeah. Swiss cheesed.
Swissed up cheese. Put on ham and spice. I'm telling you.
We would have got that Rambo machine gun treatment.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. I'm telling you. Listen, we got to call it like it is.
Yeah.
We got to call it like it is.
Call it like a TI is.
Yeah. Walking the streets freely with a machine.
After he done bodied somebody and shot 2 other people.
No, I heard the reason. This is what I heard. I heard the reason why he did shoot about 3 people. This is what I heard, because they seen a white boy with a machine gun. They automatically tackled him. They tried to get grip to him and tackle him, so he wound up defending himself and he shut off the bullets. Now, I don't know how true that is, but that's the story that's going around, and that's what that's the conversation among the young people. Well, some of the young people are having. The people are having when they heard the news. They said he was tackled to they grabbed him up, they tackled him. He was scared, so he let off some. He let off. Now, this is what should have happened. When they seen him with the arm rifle, he should have got arrested right away.
Well, see, here's the thing. Like I reported before, one story is saying that they just ran up on him, just to run up on him. What the people are saying, boots on the ground was saying, is that the reason why he got rushed was because he already shot somebody prior to that.
Wow.
So that's the difference right there. It wasn't that he was there and they just ran up on him, because there were several people there with guns. They ain't run up on them. And the one thing they need to explain is, how did he get separated from his crew? He had a crew with him. And see, here's the thing. This is how they identified him, because they're trying to make him into some hero and some freaking Johnny Goodboy, right? So they tried to say that before that event happened, that he was cleaning up graffiti. That's what they were showing on Fox News. But what they failed to show on Fox News is a video that he had prior to that march, some video from I don't know when of him beating down on a lady, okay, fighting a young high school girl or whatever because he's 17. Jumping a woman at that. Jumped a woman. How they identified him is because he had on the same shoes that he wore in the photo of him posing with the gun, the same gun that he killed the one protester and injured the other two with. You know what I'm saying?
No. I heard this too. This is what I heard also, that the 3 people that this man shot, they had a criminal background. Wow. Now they always do this. Whoa. When it comes to us,
they wasn't
black. The victims.
They wasn't black. What about the one who got murdered? The one who got murdered, he wasn't black. Now the other two, I don't know. The other two, I don't know. I haven't done.
We're not too sure. We're not too sure of the other two.
Yeah.
But the one who got murdered, they were saying that he was a pedophile, something like that. They mentioned something like that. But the truth of the matter is, to me, that doesn't matter. He killed people. That's what really mattered. He walked in the protest with a machine gun.
Yeah, he already had ill intent when he was there. And he was 17 with a gun that he shouldn't have had to begin with. And he's not from there. He's not even from Wisconsin.
No, I forgot where they say he's from.
Illinois.
Illinois. See? So now they're going to just justify him? No, he's just come on.
Yeah. Cinema.
Yeah.
Any comments on this?
Unbelievable.
And I haven't said before. Number one, Trayvon was his age. He's an adult. This kid is the same exact age as Trayvon was.
Speak on it.
He's a minor.
That's right. It's true.
Number one. Number two, even though that state has open carry, minors can't open carry. That's a broken law there.
Yep.
You can go on for days. It's just a lot of things that came out, and it just shows you how he got to go home, and how a dude who stole hedge clippers in another state is in jail for life for stealing hedge clippers.
Speak on it.
Because he's black.
Speak on it. Mm-hmm.
How they're trying to give how one state is trying to give protesters life sentences, including celebrities, for protesting. But
life sentences?
Yes. For protesting. It's a lot of crap going on. Number one, the judicial has not been equal. It's just Jim Crow 2.0. Just to let you know.
That's the truth.
And so,
facts.
You have this double standard in the law. And number one, it's because somebody wants to feel superior to another thing. Then you have churches funding this kid.
Speak on it.
Then GoFundMe said, nah, they killed that one. GoFundMe, bravo, props.
Yeah.
But they're funding it.
Yeah.
Churches?
And they're saying, oh, yeah. Because they're defending him.
Yeah,
I won't
call him
say
a patriot.
who it is. Yeah. And there's people on my
Trump
line,
support him, all that.
and they're talking like that. But they're justifying him. And I'm like, how can you hate what's happened, but then justify him? But you do that with your president. But, we'll keep it moving. Because we got to spend time on a king. It's utterly disgusting because all these subjects we have are connected.
Yeah.
This is why we had the boycott. we're back at the reason number one.
Right.
Because of the shots in the back. But then this just happened.
Yeah.
As a result to them protesting that. All these things are weaved together. But what the media wants you to do is see them as separate incidents. And it's all one thing.
Yeah.
Taylor.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. It's the same mentality. It's the same issue. Kaepernick started kneeling. And they made it about the flag when it was about police brutality. Because they deflect. That's what they do. They don't want to deal with it. They deflect. And I already spoke on this early on the show, so I won't go deep. But what we have, we have to. We can't let them change the narrative.
Yeah,
that's the fight. They change the narrative, and people forget because they got away with Kaepernick. But now, enough's been enough.
Yeah, see?
Enough's been enough since we were kids.
Yeah.
And since we're on there, what about all the incidents that aren't videotaped?
Yeah.
That these are just the ones caught. And I know.
Yeah.
I always reference Ice Cube. It's the same album. There's a song called "Who Got the Camera" about it's a fictional account, and I've said this before, of him getting brutalized by the police. And he's like, who got, and the hook is, it's the cops saying, oh please, just give me just one more hit. Oh please, who got the camera? That's the song. This is a song from back then.
Right.
This is not new. That's why I was telling all these kids, go back and listen to the music from my day, and you'll hear the same things you're saying. That's because this is how long this issue's been in play in this country.
Yeah.
This is how long this issue's been in play in this country.
Yep.
It's been a long time that old Ice Cube songs are relevant today.
Yes. Speak on it, my brother. Yeah.
We're talking about who's got the camera. And it's like, and his resolution is, it don't matter who got the camera.
Right.
And then he's like, who got my 9? That's how he ends the song. And it's like, if you don't want to, James Brown said something. Don't give me no static. Don't start none. Won't be none.
Be none.
If you want to head to that place where you want another revolution or something, I don't like to say things like this, but I do have to say things like this if I'm going to be responsible as a person to tell the truth. It's coming to a head. Because when you corner something, when you corner an animal, what happens?
They attack.
Yeah.
They're going for broke.
Yeah. Self-defense.
Because when you put somebody in a position where they have nothing to lose, that's the most, it don't matter what you got. Because they're going to take as much with them. Because if someone feels, if I'm going to face law enforcement, I'm going to die anyway. We talked about that with, and how the police responded to that.
Yeah.
But if you have hundreds of thousands in a police force of 50, who's winning that fight? In a rural area, by the time the National Guard gets there, people are gone.
Yeah.
You don't want that. So I think you need to listen to EPMD and you got to chill and do something about it.
Yep.
Because it's escalated a lot to where it's ridiculous. And another factor in this country is a lot of families are what we call mixed with race. So a lot of families have black people in their family now. That's why you saw different races marching when George Floyd happened.
Yeah.
Because this could be my family member. We're in a different country in a different time, and the people at the top don't recognize it.
Yeah, so they're still thinking about,
So it ain't gonna be just black people clapping up, if you know my phrase.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
It ain't gonna be one race like it would have been. It's anybody who cares, and that has the potential. You don't know what that is until you put people in that position. And something needs to happen, or it's going to be like something has to give, and it's going to become desperation. And let's talk about this too before I go. They're throwing flames and stuff at American industries, embassies in other countries about how black people are getting treated here around the world. They're not showing you that. I watch other news from other countries, like BBC News, one of them. I won't tell you the other ones because it's none of your business. I like to get different perspectives and stay informed. So I watch worldwide news, and American media ain't shown you the response to us. You thought we were hated around the world before? I think it's safer for a black person to travel than a white person right now around the rest of the world in most places because of what's going on here. Because people have the internet feed, they're seeing the stories not through their things. They're seeing it like live.
Yeah.
People were watching the protests from around the world, and what they don't want you to know is that the reaction around the world, they're appalled because they're seeing it live, unedited, not filtered through media no more. People are going live.
Right.
And the world's connected through the internet. That's why Carrot Top was trying to censor it. So, and they tried that stunt and it didn't work because you can't hide anymore. Because, I don't even watch the news because if I'm on the internet, I know everything before the news even reports it now without the filter. I don't need the news's filter to tell me what's going on, Yeah. And so this is the world we live in. So that's that's the injustice, that he can walk around with that gun and not be stopped.
Right.
And how many times I've stopped not unarmed? You were stopped and they dumped your book bag. They dumped my book bag.
Right.
Yeah.
And we don't have weapons, and we were harassed, and we were just kids trying to get an education.
Yeah.
That's the gross difference of this country.
Yeah.
And as many as my family fought for this country, it's definitely not fair. And I'll just end that with
Yeah.
Well, so lastly, we want to just give a rest in peace and condolences to the families of Clifford Robertson, John Thompson, and Chadwick Boseman. We all lost them within 3-4 day difference, which is crazy. It was like back to back.
Hold on, I got one more. Let me look this up.
Yeah.
Quick on my Facebook.
Yeah.
The guy who created Eric Murillo, who helped popularize house music and EDM, died too.
Oh.
I believe on Sunday or Monday.
Oh, the popularized house music,
Right. So he was found dead in his apartment. No more details on that, but
wow.
that's another one. That's 4 in one weekend, and there may be others.
Yeah.
Right.
But
man. I mean, condolences and our to them brothers, man, and Chadwick Boseman his movies will be playing forever, So yeah, definitely gonna miss him. Yeah.
Shout out for ABC for playing Black Panther with no commercial interruption.
Yeah, and a 2020 tribute after the movie.
I DVR'd that.
Yeah,
good.
It really sucks. All of these deaths suck. With Chadwick's specifically, I want to speak on with him is the fact that he was such a young, talented brother. 43, that is. That's young. That's still young. That's still enough for him to do a lot more. And he had so much more in the works. I mean, the plans that the plans that Disney had for him with the character of Black Panther and pushing that more to the forefront due to the success of the movie. Robert Downey Jr. was saying, he had the best solo movie out of the whole MCU, which is true in terms of what he means by the best. He means as far as did the best as far as box office.
Right.
And that people basically voted with the support, saying we're going to support this film because it's needed and stuff like that. And that's true,
right.
Because Avengers, it happened to make.
I'm gonna just
Go ahead.
I'm gonna just name a few movies that I just admired him playing. I watched Thurgood Marshall when he played at Thurgood Marshall.
Yeah.
I watched Jackie Robinson.
Great.
42. Yeah, 42. Yeah, I watched that, and I also watched James Brown, which was a great classic.
That's my
banger.
favorite of that. My favorite performance of Chadwick is Get On Up.
Yeah, that's a classic. It's a timeless classic right there. That's a movie that will always play. So he's gonna be missed. And then he played the mess of the Black Panther, and he did well in Avengers too. So the man put in work. He did put in a lot of work. That's memorable work. That's one thing you see. Music and movies don't die.
Right.
That's one thing that don't die. You'll be gone for years, and your movies and music is be still playing. So
well, and briefly,
man.
it's a lot for him to do this. I mean, he was diagnosed. He found out that when he got diagnosed originally 4 years ago, that he was already stage 3.
Wow.
So and he worked all these years, just fighting cancer to the very end. And I would have to say, because he probably felt like, listen, I'm either gonna not do something or I'm gonna do something. You know what I mean? So and his circle didn't out him. His business was personal. His personal business was kept quiet. He didn't want nobody feeling sorry for him, and he still did things, community work, still visited kids in the hospital, dealt with, saw people and, who were going through, and little did we know that he was fighting his own battle. And you have to respect a man who was able to still give us the performances that he was able to give us, and to still do that and not complain.
Yeah,
you gotta love that about a guy like that, man. That's integrity. That's courage and heart. That's a lot. Cinema, your take on any words on this?
The most important thing.
Yeah.
He preached this and he believed it.
Yes.
Early in his career, he was on a soap opera.
All My Children.
Yeah, and they were going to keep his character till he asked them 2 questions about the background of the character's parents.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, of his character. Then he was labeled a troublemaker.
Yeah.
He stood for positive Black images, and he paid that cost because representation is important.
Yeah.
Representation, image is important.
He was originally casted as Reggie, and then he denied it, and then Michael B. Jordan actually got it. So that's interesting how he turned down the role. Michael B. Jordan takes the role. Yeah, go ahead.
He didn't get turned down the role. I have a video up on my Facebook about how he was released from the role. Quote unquote.
So he was released because he wanted out? Because I said he turned it down.
No.
So what's go ahead.
There's a speech where he talks about it in a commencement, like what the real situation was completely. So viewers, go check that out.
Okay. All right. So yeah. No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah. And then Goldcast has snippets from it in their little tribute they did to him. But it's like representation matters. And, Michael B. Jordan also continued his tribute to him was moving.
Yeah.
That he put up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They, they're Michael B. Jordan kind of got fired up, and they became really good friends. Then they finally got to work together on Black Panther, because they both have Ryan Coogler in common.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. One of the main reasons why they were recruited for that, because of Coogler. So there's, I'm sorry, the main reason why, not Chadwick, sorry, the main reason why Michael B. Jordan was recruited for Black Panther was because of the friendship of him and Ryan Coogler, and through the Creed movies. So it's Chadwick's inspiration as far as taking roles and not being careful of roles you take is because of Denzel Washington.
Right.
So
in that thing.
Exactly.
Who paid his tuition.
Paid his tuition, yeah.
Through Felicia Rashad, something she was doing with students.
Yeah. Acting school.
Right, which he got to give Denzel his flowers before he went. So
yeah.
This is what Fifth talks about a lot, about connecting and helping each other in our own community.
Right.
And Chadwick says there's no Black Panther without Denzel.
Right.
Denzel broke a lot of barriers in Hollywood.
Yeah.
And people, he needs to get his props. First, Sidney Poitier started it.
Yeah.
Then Denzel came and continued that work. Whatever you think of Bill Cosby, he was part of that too. And so the fight, with him was for ownership, all that stuff. And so, representation is important. And Chadwick dedicated his life with cancer and kept on trucking and knew that these images were important.
Yeah.
Because, Obama, see, this is what, these things, Obama becoming president, Black Panther. And this is why these images are part of the reason, the boycott and all that stuff, because Black people are taking pride to where they're not taking the garbage they took before. And Chadwick is, Thurgood Marshall, like all those movies, he put Black excellence on film, and he was very deliberate, and he made good film. And my cousin worked with him because she works in the film industry, and she loved him. Everyone she said everyone who meets him loves him, because it's not he wasn't a persona, he was substance. He was character.
Right. Mm-hmm. Oh yes.
Wow.
Some of my brothers, yeah, man.
Yeah. Once again, condolences and rest in peace to the families of those we lost.
Condolences,
weekend,
man. Yeah. Yes.
Man.
Yeah. So right. That's a lot. I don't have anything more to say. Any last words, Zacchaeus, and we'll sign out.
No, well, those who RIP to those Chadwick and the rest of the people that we mentioned, that RIP to them, and and that's about it. At this point right now, we thank you for all the body of work that Chadwick did. We thank him. Contribute to Black culture and Black arts. Thank you so much. Yeah.
All right. Tell them where they can reach you, man.
Yeah, you can reach me on Facebook. Wayne Zacchaeus Bacchus on Facebook. Also on Instagram, Zacchaeus B73. Also on Twitter, Wayne Bacchus 2 on Twitter. Also, you can hit me up I have a new online store. Yeah, www.zacchaeusb73.com. Check it out. New apparel coming, new clothing, t-shirts, hoodies, sweaters. What's good, y'all? Hit me up.
Cinema.
Cinemascapes on Twitter. Cinemascapes Music on Facebook and Instagram. Cinemascapes on Instagram. And I think that's about it. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, y'all can reach me at the Fifth General, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. All right, we're gonna get up out of here. This was another episode of The Round Circle, and we'll see you next time. Peace.